Well, hey everyone, Mac here, and I want to welcome you along with my dear friends Tim, Cheryl, Dolphin, and Judy to chat with us just for a minute about this transition between summer and the fire element into the earth element. And it's interesting, this earth element time, it's really in late summer, it's really a very short but significant season that is associated with the earth element. And really it's a transitional bridge, if you will, between summer and autumn for us. But before we get into the specifics of all that and start sharing around Earth Element time, I want to turn to Cheryl, Tim, and Finn just for a minute to talk to us just briefly about the great Founders Tour meeting that happened recently up in Regina, Canada. Um, I can't remember who was going to start first, but whoever would like to, please jump in. Cheryl, I think you were going to go first, right?
Okie dokie. Well, we had a fantastic time. It was so well organized and it was so nice to see everyone. It's like a big family reunion, all the hugs and seeing the Chen family as usual is like very special. And then having my Sunrider family there with Finn and her group was extra special. And Finn did such a beautiful job the next day with the brunch and just made me feel like I was home. And I loved it. And Tim loved the music.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Tim,
So
what did you
Tim,
think about the meeting? Was there any key things that stood out for you being there?
It kind of reminded me of being in convention in the 90s, of all things. Went 3 years in a row at that time.
Mhm.
It was outstanding. I mean, it's the connection with everybody. And of course, to see people from my own group there, I was so proud of them all. And uh, even dragged one of my buddies out there too, which is just great. And we had awesome conversation. And it was great to see Dr. Chen. I know he was in pain with his back, but he overcame that as best he could, and it was still awesome with incredible information, of course, and released the new products. But really, as Cheryl just mentioned, it's really the connection. Like when we get a chance to be with everyone and see what they're going through, and what so I find interesting is all the stories tend to coagulate together because they're all very similar, and it's nice to be able to cheer on everyone's victories and overcoming wherever they might have been to create a better place. It was wonderful. I just can't say enough about it. To be there in person is so important and so fulfilling at the same time.
Yeah, it comes back to the whole showing up thing, huh?
Yeah,
Ben,
yeah.
I know these pictures up here. The one on the left is your Saskatoon group, if you will, and the one on the right is the full meeting group, which there looks to be what 100 plus people there at that meeting. So, what a great turnout it was up there. And what was your takeaway from the meeting, if you had a couple that you just want to share with folks?
Well, I was so pleased and honored that we had 15 of our um, group and guests travel down to Regina
Mhm.
for the event. And we hear you say it that you have to experience it, you have to show up to really feel the energy. Words don't do it justice.
Mm.
And that was certainly the case. That in that room, the whole time you could just feel the connection, feel the love, feel the energy. As Tim said, it was like convention, only kind of better in just the sense it was smaller, and people just had this opportunity to really connect. Dr. Chen was on point. Honestly, I didn't even know that he was in pain, in the sense that he just was still so funny, so inspiring. His message, one of his messages was the idea of take the time to talk to 20 people one time rather than focusing on one person 20 times. And kind of that idea of let's spread this message and the gift of Sunrider. Don't be afraid to just get out there and connect with more and more people. And the energy that came from this event is still reciprocal. Like people are still talking about it. My group has been signing, getting people involved, and just the excitement and the connection is just priceless. So I can't wait for the next one, and just hoping that more and more people will show up, because you have to experience it to
Yep.
really get it.
Well, hey, thank you guys for sharing. And I'm really sorry I couldn't attend up there with you. It's something I wanted to do, but schedules wouldn't allow. And you're right. I mean, the common theme I heard from all three of you was the community and the people and the coming together. And I couldn't agree with that more. I'm about to head off to Budapest, Hungary myself this next week, and it's the same thing. It's connecting with the people that are part of our lives that mean so much to us. So thank you guys for sharing about that. So, we are going to talk about Earth Element in late summer here today. And as usual, we are going to speak some about Sunrider Foods. So I just wanted to remind everybody that none of the information presented in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. As usual, for any new people listening to this presentation, we just want to share with you, beyond the wonderful community of people that we get to work with, why somebody should consider Sunrider. And for me, I look at four big things. Number one, 42 years of being in business. That means this Sunrider is an extremely stable company, which is not necessarily the case in our industry a lot of times. Sunrider operates in over 50 countries around the world, allowing each of us, if we choose to have an international business. And I just mentioned that upcoming trip to Budapest. One of the things I love the most is being able to travel around the world and interact with people that I've come to know and love over the years from just participating with them in Sunrider. Coming from a manufacturing background, a pharmaceutical manufacturing background myself, one of the things that impressed me so much about Sunrider from day one was the fact that Sunrider internally handles all the research, development, and the manufacturing of their products, which again, folks, is extremely unusual in our industry. Most companies will hand to a third party their recipe and say, please make my product for me, but they have no control over that process. That's not the case with Sunrider. 100% internal research, development, and manufacturing of what I consider the world's finest 400 plus products that are all related to health and beauty. Everything from, whole food nutritional foods to cleansing beverages to weight management to sports and fitness to green household and all natural skincare and cosmetic products. This truly is an incredible company to get to know. And I would encourage everybody, anybody new, please talk to your upline, talk to the person that asked you to listen to this, but get to know Sunrider and you will love it as much as we do. With that said, Cheryl, I'm going to turn this over to you to tell everybody a little bit about this philosophy of regeneration, which we all know is one of the things that makes Sunrider so unique.
Thank you so much, Mac. Yes, Sunrider products are based on a very simple yet powerful idea that blends traditional Chinese medicine with advanced Western science, and it's called the philosophy of regeneration. Now, there's four guiding principles to it. When we nourish with only the finest natural ingredients and cleanse of harmful chemicals and artificial flavors and preservatives and bring our body into balance, it's a healthy body. So the principle number one then is nourish and cleanse to get balance. And Sunrider products nourish the yin and cleanse the yang, your body's 5 systems to promote balance for optimal health and energy. And second, we need to eat clean foods, not chemicals. And our products are made with nutrient-rich whole foods and herbs, not synthetic, artificial, or highly processed ingredients. And number 3, we need a variety because there's no perfect food or ingredient. Too much of anything can unbalance the body and even damage our health. Our products give you a vital variety of wholesome ingredients. And number 4, like Mac was sharing earlier, the expertise in formulation and concentration. While most companies outsource manufacturing, we control every aspect to personally ensure the potency, purity, integrity, and safety. Sunrider products are based on this philosophy, and they are simply the best.
I loved it, Cheryl. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about, again, this Earth Element time in late summer. And Tim, if I can turn this over to you, floor is all yours, sir.
Oh, thank you. Well done, Cheryl. I was getting an extra little bit of gold from you every time you go through the philosophy of regeneration. So, autumn, digestive system, and stomach, spleen, and pancreas, for that matter. Here to take care of the furnace. The furnace is a pretty important part of making sure that digestion is going to be well at any time. but there's extra emphasis put on it at this time of year. And also the earth element is the center. It's the center of the core. Please, you can correct me or jump in, Finn, if you want to anytime too. But it's the center and has a relationship with all the other four elements. As you can see in the picture just to the right there, it kind of shows that the earth is the center. Without digestion, without that nutrition going in, we don't have much going on. But what's not only is it late summer and the shortest season, but I think it makes up for the lack of time in late summer. During the first week before and the week after every change of seasons, the digestive system needs a little bit of attention. And a little more nurturing, just to make sure that everything's on point as we go into the next season and another system that's going to be have its emphasis placed on it as it does its thing to get us through that season and definitely into the next one. So it's kind of cool. Every time you have a change of season, yes, we go into another element, but the earth element is always part of that process. What do you think, Finn? Is that pretty close?
Absolutely. And when you start to fine tune listening to your body, start fine-tuning how you're dealing with your digestive system, you start to notice that, for example, in the summertime, we might be indulging in a little more barbecuing and, frosty beverages. And then, a few weeks before the next change of season, i.e. fall, I can start to feel indigestion, a little bit of sluggishness. And it's just like, gosh, a week ago I could eat this and now I can't, kind of thing. And it's just like, it's just getting in tune with nature, with the elements. And so when we start to pay more attention, then we can address understanding that these symptoms, allergies or indigestion, it's actually just your earth element, the digestive system talking to you. We don't have to label it something. It's just like, let's just look at addressing and paying attention to the digestive system a little more. So it's just a great way of listening, just listening to our friend, listening to our body.
Perfect. Judy, would you kind of take us through a little bit of some of the associations with the earth element and share with us a little bit about this slide?
Sure. Great job, Tim and Finn. I really appreciate the connection. We're supposed to look at these areas of the body and see what they're telling us. So here's the ones particularly affected by the earth element. And Tim mentioned the stomach, the spleen, and the pancreas. The tissues involved are the muscles, the flesh, sense organ, mouth and lips. I think that's fascinating. Few people know that your lips tell the story of the stomach. Their size, their shape, their dryness, different things like that. So I don't know what happens if you use fillers, but anyway, our true lips are a way to peer inside. And I think that's just fascinating.
Right on.
The taste is sweet, but that doesn't mean, oh, yay, pastries, cakes, and cookies. What it means is, think about what's around you. It means all those wonderful fruits are now ripe and sweet, falling to the ground for us to enjoy. So think about apples and berries and things like that. That is the sweet of the earth, and not the false sugar that we all are battling on a daily basis. So, and this I find particularly interesting. I don't know if you've thought a lot about color. And the interesting thing about color, it is yellow and golden in late summer. And isn't that so true? But all the seasons display the color. And there's a reason for that, because color has a frequency, that wavelength hitting our eyes actually helps in the balancing effect. And here's a few things which have been given in a way, but it's so interesting that the color yellow also helps correct some things. So if we're in balance, we have clarity, energy, optimism, enlightenment, and joy. So hey, let's go grab a yellow t-shirt or use some sunglasses with a yellow tint. how we look at the world, it's going to change how we feel. Okay, now the positive emotions can be congruent belief and action. We all want that. It can also help with our peace of mind. All about it, everything is leading to grounding, in touch with the earth, stability, and strength. So here's the negative side, however. If we're out of balance, we're going to have a disparity between our core beliefs and our mind. Our mind and gut, so to speak, are not operating together. And it also can block the ability for inspiration. And also, it can, of course, make us feel ungrounded. We may even come across as spacey, distant, or even demanding. Those are out of balance in the earth. So our digestion, as we've been talking about. And another interesting fact is that this can result from other things that have produced the poor digestion. And I found this fascinating because it could be caused by a bad accident or even difficulty in birth. So some things stay with us. And I just found that so interesting. And we also, because of tragic events in our life, can start to feel that life is hard or it's dangerous. And so that attitude, maybe we want to change it, but we just need to recognize it and maybe work on our digestion. It doesn't have to be us. And then many can even experience an inability to focus. Hello. So perhaps we ate too much, or we're just not digesting or assimilating. So I don't know. I hope you find that interesting. And again, it's not about making everything in your house yellow, but it's noticing the yellow around you and taking it in and appreciating that it is more of a built-in way to help balance us. Let's see, where were we on that? So also, the emotion is worrying, overthinking. But we want to be grounded, and that will correct that. And interesting, the sound of the voice is singing tone. Now, that definitely proves that I need some help in the digestive area, but that's not the true of everyone else. So again, who thought we could actually sound better in a group by improving our digestion? So these are things to think about, notice, and not to be alarmed over, but gently correct and use what's available to us to do that. Now, then another organ involved with the stomach is the spleen and also the pancreas. We mentioned the sweetness of the pancreas we know that produces insulin. So we want that in balance and the sugar to be natural. But the spleen, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of fascinated because I wasn't really sure what the spleen does. So here it is. The spleen is part of the earth element. It's still in the center. Both the spleen and the pancreas are right behind the stomach. So right in the center, the core. And what it does, it stores blood and destroys old blood cells. It is the reserve organ for blood formation in an adult, but in an unborn child, the fetus, it is an important organ for blood formation. The spleen also consists of lymphatic tissue and produces plasma cells, which make antibodies. So that ties it to the immune system. And as we know, the immune system can offer protection against certain diseases. So if you have any doubt that the earth element is important, and I love the way Tim put it, it's short, but makes up for it in importance. It's setting the center, the core, for what's to come. So let's give attention to it. Matt, do you have anything to add to that?
I do, Ed. It's funny. First of all, I just have to say I wore my yellow gold shirt today, so I'm
Very
feeling
nice.
very much in balance with the season. Okay, but I would like to share, if you guys don't mind, just a couple minutes of personal story regarding the spleen. We're going to have to take the calendar back about 52 years. It was the second day of my senior year in high school. I was heading to school that morning on my motorcycle, and lo and behold, this older gentleman in a station wagon did not see me, okay, coming down this one-way street, and he pulled out right in front of me, and I went from 35 to 0 just like that, ended up in the side of his car, falling back on the ground, of course, and have no memory of it, thank God, but this is what I was told, of course. And again, what happened was I cracked a Bell helmet, which saved my life. Thank you, Bell Manufacturing. Broke my jaw in two places, compound fracture of the left leg, and I ruptured my spleen, which had to be removed later that afternoon. Okay, so this whole area of the spleen has been very important to me too, Judy. So I'm glad you covered this. And I mean, if you guys can imagine, how does your body come back into balance after experiencing one of those tragic events you were talking about just a second ago, like that for me? And it's interesting when you look at it from a Western standpoint. The body doesn't really act as if the organ is still present, okay? But it does rebalance functions so survival and health can continue as much as possible. Things like, for instance, the liver and the bone marrow take over red blood cell filtering and some of the immune function. The body doesn't necessarily keep signaling the missing spleen, but the immune system reorganizes and adapts to cover the gap. Now, from a traditional Chinese medicine standpoint, we all know from our conversations around all of this that organs are not just physical structures, for sure. They're functional networks that include physical, energetic, emotional, and spiritual aspects. I mean, the organ systems go much further than just the flesh that they're made of. And, again, they all had energetic, functional, and emotional roles that still continue to exist after that the spleen has been removed. So, for me, when I look back at all of this and I think about, again, beyond my attitude, exercise, etc., I know that these issues and so forth, and these conversations that we're having around the seasons, an understanding of 5-element theory and traditional Chinese medicine practices, and eating for the seasons, and specifically the Sunrider formulas, are what have allowed me to overcome any of the loss of spleen obstacles that we've talked about here. So again, I'm just so thankful for the Sunrider Foods and having this group and the ability to talk through these things each season and what they really mean to us. And so appreciate the focus on the spleen this particular earth element time, and being able to share this story with you guys, which again, I mentioned the Sunrider Foods are what I put right up there at the top of the list that have really helped me during all these years. And I think that's a great transition time into some of our Sunrider Foods and what we're going to talk about. And if I'm not mixing this up too much, I think Shirley, you're going to jump in and talk to us first.
Yes, I am, Mac. Thank you so much, Judy and Mac. I was totally thrilled to hear all this information. And I related one of the products I'm going to talk to back to a tragedy I had a number of years ago. And it was Assimilate, or AD, that had helped put my body back in balance. And what Assimilate is, it's a digestive food, concentrated. And it's made up of earth element herbs. So it helps our body process our food more quickly and efficiently. And it aids digestion to the stomach, lubricates the intestinal tract, and alleviates digestion related to ailments like heartburn and upset stomach. It's one of the formulas in our Quinery, but if you need more, it's always good to have an extra bottle of Assimilate, or AD, on hand. In Canada, we call it AD. And it's super concentrated, and it provides antioxidant support to our body as well. So it's a powerful formula. I just open it and put it in my Cali, and it tastes yummy. I love the taste. And the other digestive product that I absolutely love is our Vitadophilus, and it balances our microbiome, boosts our gut health, immunity, and metabolism. Our proprietary probiotic is formulated with a protective apopectin coating, and I haven't seen anything like that in the marketplace. Ours is totally unique because it insulates this harsh stomach acid. So it ensures that we have fast-acting, maximum nutritional absorption. And each serving supplies at least 20 million live cultural bacteria to protect our body against harmful bacteria. So when you have Arvitadophilus, the whole thing gets to where it needs to go rather than being destroyed. So it's delicious. It tastes kind of like apples. I use it as a dessert sometimes and make Vitafruit and dip it in the Vitadophilus and apple in it. And it's just really yummy. So children love it. And two great products if you want to have a balanced digestive system. And I think Tim's going to talk to us about another one.
Yes, that was awesome, Cheryl. And I love Vitadophilus too. And that's a product that's been with Sunrider for decades too. It's like they came up with how to get it where it needs to go a long, long time ago using the apple pectin as a covering source, I guess. I'm going to talk about Fibertone, and Fibertone is might scare some people, might make some people pretty happy. One of the reasons somebody might feel scared is because it may bring on a little bit of nausea if somebody's not used to using it. And it is a wonderful assembly of herbs, including psyllium fiber. And one of the things that does is it helps enable your body to do a little better scouring job of cleaning your intestinal tract, starting with your small intestine, of course. Got to get it past the stomach, but small intestine so that we can assimilate better, but particularly in the large intestine. And that large intestine is we're familiar with peristalsis. Well, it's the involuntary contractions that help food get to where get food so we can through the system so that we can digest and eliminate it properly. In this case, elimination. And there's little pockets on the side, pocket-like structures on the side of our large intestinal tract. And what happens is if we get a little bit too full or even jammed with too much stuff, it gets backed up. Well, then that peristaltic action is working, but it's not doing anything because there's just no room for it to expand and contract and move things along. So Fibertone is just a wonderful addition to any of the foods that you're having, just to put a little bit of emphasis on better assimilation and better elimination, and which is normal. So we're just going to bring ourselves back. Again, just that little bit of attention right from the beginning if someone's going to start using Fibertone. I might start with 1 capsule a day for like 4 or 5 days, and then maybe 2 capsules for 4 or 5 days, even 4 to 7 days. And then my magic number is 2 to 4, and depending on how I am, and I feel fine. Everything's fine. And you can tell when you're feeling fine, you realize your digestive system is working more normally. And I would like to say optimally, but optimally is normally. So I want to say it that way. But that's Fibertone, and I'm thinking who'd be next there. I think it's Judy. It's been with Sun Care and Vitastaste, I believe. Yes.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, so I know we've talked about Vitastaste, before, and again, this is another very unique product to Sunrider, and it's like now we're hearing about other ways of helping the body block sugar and for weight management. But what's interesting about Vitastaste is that, again, it's a food, so it's very safe, and yes, it helps with digestion, especially when it comes to fat and sugar, as far as engaging the receptors on those cells with the herbs. So the cells are happy, munching along with the herbs, and then when we eat sugar or high fat, it will just pass through our system without getting absorbed. So we're not getting a lot of spikes in our blood sugars, and it's definitely helpful for weight management, for example. But I was doing a little research just on the individual herbs, just thought, oh, let me just check this out. I know I'm doing this webinar. And what I also found interesting was that some of the herbs also are really beneficial for the heart, which we just finished talking, we just left heart fire season and the heart system. and it also is very helpful for our mood. And so especially, Judy talking about our emotion and things like worry or anxiety. And on the flip side of that, with the stomach spleen is joy. When we're in balance, we feel an abundance of joy and upliftment and wanting to sing, right? And so what I love about kind of the fringe benefit of VitaTaste and the stevia and the sun care or Sunnydew is this upliftment of our emotion, of our mood, of just feeling happy and joyful. And when it comes to our specially balanced stevia products, in Canada it's called Sun Care, and in the US it's Sunnydew and Sun Nectar, is that yes, it nourishes our pancreas and our spleen, which is so important. Those two, well, the pancreas is a gland, the spleen is the organ. Those two elements in our body don't get the attention or the credit that they deserve as far as the function and the work that they do, until something goes wrong. And so it's really important for absorption. The spleen helps the body absorb nutrients. Of course, the pancreas isn't responsible for maintaining the balance of our blood sugars through producing insulin. And what I love about our stevia is that it's formulated with other herbs, including chrysanthemum, which is a superfood. And it really, truly does create balance in our blood sugars. And I don't know about you, but I find, especially with us ladies, when we get hangry or when we find our blood sugars drop, man, you don't want to be around us, especially a redhead like me. So, again, when we have those sugars in balance and having our digestive system in balance, then not only is the physical components working well and we're feeling good, but it really does tie in with the emotional body and just having that feeling of feeling our moods lift. And I was blessed enough not to run out of sun care, out of the stevia, but I know some of my people did, and it was interesting. From different places, they gave stories of how they felt their mood. They really noticed a difference in their mood. And I was like, interesting. And so they were really missing. They were so happy when, I brought some back from the States, and, people were just so happy to have our sun care, our Sunnydew back. So very special products that really help with both the stomach and the spleen pancreas systems. Mac, you're up next.
Actually, Judy, I think, is going to talk to us about NuPlus first.
Sorry, Judy.
That's fine. Nice job, everyone. And Tim, I'm a little concerned about the stuff that we have extra. But anyway, I'll leave that to the imagination. I get to talk about a wonderful product. We're so into superfoods and concentrated nutrition these days. So I get to talk about the top of the list, and that's NuPlus. It is one of my most favorite superfoods because it actually has 26 and more superfoods in it, including koi fruit, which is, by independent researchers, one of the two most nutritious foods on the planet. And so this food truly is a base and the perfect element for the digestion because it's so easily assimilated. So imagine getting all this concentrated nutrition. I don't know about you, but I can stuff a bunch of stuff in a blender, but it's it gets a little mucky sometimes. But NuPlus, so beautifully fine powdered, mix it with water, juice, or make a smoothie, whatever you need to do to get it down. And oftentimes, particularly the original, we have used that in conjunction with a few other products like Quinary and maybe some of Similac with a baby who has colic, but it makes a fabulous baby formula. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is, if we had known Mac 52 years ago, which I hardly doubt he was able to ride a motorcycle as a baby. But anyway, he claims he did. So if we could have visited him in the hospital, and I have actually had the privilege of doctors agreeing to put this in a feeding tube for someone convalescing, or even being spoon-fed with New Plus with a little water, or dry and then a quick swig of water in hospitals. Them recognizing the value and the potency. And if you ever are feeling off for a day, just pretend it's your IV. Make a big sport bottle of water, a couple of New Plus in there, and sip on it all day. Keeps your blood sugar level, keeps the nutrition coming. If you're just not quite up to maybe eating a meal or whatever. So it's fabulous for all sorts of things, comes a variety of flavors, and it truly is a base formula that we don't want to be without on a daily basis. And in more recent years, we were all pleased to receive the Protein Plus because it too is power packed with nutrition with the added value of extra protein. Now, I don't know. I would say the majority of us are not bodybuilders or don't aspire to be, but we sure want to feel good. We sure want our heart to be strong as a muscle. We don't want to look depleted. And so as we get older, the extra protein is a fabulous plus. As we're sending our children off to school, we might want to add a scoop of that because, again, it keeps a comfortable fullness, but with the added nutrition. So many people combine New Plus with Protein Plus, and that is a winning combo. They stand alone singly, and they're even more powerful together. So I hope you include them.
Perfect.
Matt, do you have some food to tell us about?
Yeah, we sure do. But, before we move on, I just want to come back to New Plus for just a second, Judy. It's interesting traveling around the world many, many times over the last 25 years with Sunrider. I've been asked many times, and I've asked many times people, if they're stranded on a desert island and there's one Sunrider product they just wouldn't want to live without, what would it be? 99% of the time, my answer as well is New Plus. And it's for all the reasons you talked about, Judy. It truly is an incredible food. And it's something that I eat right out of the bag every single day. So I just love it. Favorite flavors? Well, let's not even go there. There's too many to pick from, and we all have our own ones. But for me, it's Piña Banana, and I've really been loving the Simply Herbs lately too. But that's just me. Anyway, beyond our Sunrider foods, what else can we do during the season to actually help us and stay in balance? And in this late summertime, just the keywords of eating slowly, chew your food, and don't overeat. And Finn, we've heard from you many times on your cleanses and so forth about chewing your food and making sure you're taking it to actually a liquid before you swallow. And we'll get back to more of that in a minute. But, a healthy late summer diet should focus on the fresh, the seasonal produce, the light meals, lean proteins, whole grains, healthy fats, and good hydration. And like we just said, don't forget to listen to your body, focus on smaller, balanced meals, prevent overeating, and stop when you feel full, which is always the thing I have to remind myself of, So anyway, enough of that. Hey, as we kind of come to the end here, we just wanted to share with everybody that in this month of September 2025, there are two great promotions going on in the USA and Canada to help us all to reactivate many of those retail customers that we might have in our groups. And I don't know about you guys, but I do have a whole list of retail customers that maybe started off at IBOs years ago, and for whatever reasons, they've fallen down to retail and have kind of gone inactive. And this is one way that Sunrider is kind of helping us to reactivate some of these people by them upgrading to PC. They can, in placing a minimum order of, I think it's $100 in the US and $150 Canadian, they can, first of all, receive their free membership as a preferred customer with the company. And they'll also get free shipping on that first order that they place, as well as all the other benefits of a PC. I mean, loyalty reward programs, special perks and promotions, etc. So again, this is one great way that we can all use to kind of reactivate some of those people that have gone dormant for the past number of years in our organizations. Lastly, again, we just want to kind of thank you you all for joining us as we transition from fire to earth, and certainly stay tuned for more to come. Again, we reference the fact that this is a short season, but we will be posting a lot over the next couple of weeks, even with travel, etc. Associated with the season, we'll be sharing again on our 5-element cycle to wellness Facebook page a lot of the stuff we've talked about here, just as a reminder to folks. And again, I alluded to it earlier with Finn and some of her cleanses, but again, it's not too early to start thinking about an autumn cleanse. And Finn, I guess that's a great segue back to you. We'll be posting your poster here tomorrow on the site, but I know you have your autumn cleanse coming up, September 22nd through October 1st. And is there anything you'd like to say about that just quickly to folks before we close down the call?
Yeah, so again, just based on what we've been talking about today, is that, when you're listening to your body, it's the equinoxes, the spring and the fall, is a really ideal time to give the body a bit of a rest and allow yourself that opportunity to kind of break some habits that may have occurred, in winter or summer. And it gives that 10 days an opportunity to really just feel what's going on in your body, cut out foods that might not be serving you at this time. It's not just, you're not just drinking water. There's lots of nutrition. There's lots of feelings of feeling nourished, and there's the support of the group. So if you're interested in learning more, you can most certainly get in touch with me. And it really is a great time to reset the body, get your immune system ready for the winter, and get that digestive system just working optimally so that we can think better, feel better, and just have all those other organ systems working properly moving into winter.
Perfect. I love it. Well, hey, everybody, again, first of all, I want to thank Tim, Cheryl, Finn, and Judy for sharing the way that you guys did. So appreciate this, and just being able to come together, like we said, in this community and kind of share a little bit of knowledge around TCM and 5-element theory. So this is wonderful. And to our audience out there, thank you so much for joining us. Please check us out on our 5-element cycle to wellness Facebook page. That's where we post pretty much every day about these topics. And again, the more the merrier that want to join us on that. And again, let us wish you all the very healthy late summer. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.